everybody. Welcome back to the Legacy Premier League. I am Emma Handy, and you are Jarvis. How's it going?
It's going great. We just watched you play a match. Do you want to talk about it real quick?
Well, it could have gone better. So there's a distinct difference between you, Jarvis, and me, Emma. It is that you are undefeated in the Legacy Premier League this go around, specifically winning with a Delver deck this week, and I am what's the opposite of undefeated? Very defeated?
Yeah.
Losing to Delver this week. It's perfect.
Yeah. I saw Brian actually like a week ago between rounds of the SCG, he messaged me, "Can you send me a rug list?" And I was like, why does he want that? But I just sent it to him, and then here it came up.
Very cool, very cool. I appreciate that, Jarvis, bringing it against me, if you will. But yeah, so a lot of it kind of came down to Oko doing Oko things in Magic the Gathering, it seems, where I just got kind of shoved out of the game by an endless wave of 3/3s every turn.
Yeah, and also a 2-mana Planeswalker also led the party, I think.
Yeah, it was great. So he played a Wooded Foothills on one, and then another duel, and then played a Wooded Foothills every turn until I died.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that was a game where Wasteland would have ended you almost immediately, which is kind of funny.
It was rough, where the opening 7 is like Volcanic Island, 2 basic islands, white spells. And I go, well, this is what happens when your deck's full of basic lands. I brought this on myself. And then I mulligan, and it's double Tundra. And I just go, oh, come on.
Well, to be fair, double Tundra is a lot more palatable than the other hand, I think. But it's still not what you're looking for in the matchup, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely a spot where if it were game 1 blind or something like that, I'd be kind of anxious about it. But I didn't think that Brian would keep any hands leaning on Wasteland against my, 8 basics deck.
Yeah, you have 3 dual lands in your deck out of like 20 lands. It's not... You can't really waste you out.
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyways, we have one last exciting match to watch tonight. And I don't know, both of the players are great. I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Michael Bonde versus Autumn Burchett. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe we had a Twitter poll that let the internet pick who they thought was favored. So we have 57% of the net, the website that is, think that Michael's favored. What's your read on it?
So, without going too deep into the deck lists, I think Autumn is playing a deck with Kolaghan's Command, and Michael is playing a deck with Aether Vial. Typically, I've enjoyed casting Kolaghan's Command versus Aether Vial, so I feel as though these numbers are not quite right, but we'll see how the match plays out.
So gotta be honest with you. I think you just enjoy casting Kolaghan's Command. That feels like
true.
A thing that smart Magic players like to do.
Yeah, it used to be really good. Now I think it's less good in Legacy now, but...
And yet...
Yeah, I mean, you can do whatever you want in Legacy.
Yeah, so diving a little bit deeper into the deck list from both players, we are going to take a look at Autumn Burchett's 4-color control with a bit of a snow package going on here. So do you want to break down what this deck's doing a little bit, Jarvis?
Yeah, so a bunch of people have played lists like this, most notably Edgar. I think Edgar has been a huge proponent of this sort of deck. Really, what pushed this deck over the top was Modern Horizons. Just look at how many cards in Modern Horizons are in the deck. You have 4 Arkham's Astrolabe and 3 Wrenn and 6, and a very important card, Plague Engineer, versus decks with X1s, like plus Wrenn. You can even kill X2s. It's just a beating. So really, this is sort of an evolution of a Jund deck, but you play 4 colors because Astrolabe lets you play a lot of colors.
Okay, great. So, moving things right along, we also have Michael Bonde's Death and Taxes deck. Do you want to break this one down for us?
Yeah, this has been a staple of Legacy for quite a while. Uh, Thomas Envelson famously called this deck actually mono white control or mono white prison, depending on how you want to put it. But basically, the idea behind this deck is to try to constrict your opponent's options every turn while like attacking them for 2, 3, 4 damage per turn until they're dead. Um, Mother of Runes used to be a big part of this plan, but again, Modern Horizons rearing its ugly head. Giver of Runes that gives you some insurance for his Plague Engineers and Ren 6s as well.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, it kind of feels like it's a liability to have one toughness in modern right now.
Right, right. And there's actually a few interesting cards that you don't normally see in Death and Taxes. I think the most notable one is Tomic Distinguished Advocate. That sort of protects you from a lot of weird stuff like Thespian Stage, opposing Wastelands, and like it's a 2/3 flyer. How bad could it actually be?
Yeah, exactly. And there are a lot of subtle things it turns off, like if the opponent has Life from the Loam or something to that
Oh yeah,
effect,
yeah,
you
yeah.
can end up affecting those cards. So taking things a step further, we've broken down what these decks do. You had alluded towards thinking the matchup is good for the 4-color deck. Do you want to now maybe go a little bit further into it?
Yeah, so the matchup is going to come down to basically whether Autumn can develop their mana without being disrupted too much, be able to play their powerful haymakers. If Autumn can't get past like 2 lands or not have the right colors, then I think Death and Taxes is favored. So that's going to be the major dynamic in the matchup.
Sure. So it feels like in a lot of ways, it's almost like Arkham's Astrolabe is going to play a defining role here because that's going to hurt the efficacy of, say, a Wasteland lock.
Right, right. I definitely agree with that. And it's kind of weird. The 4-color deck can afford to play a lot of basic lands because of Astrolabe. Like every
Sure.
snow land just becoming a rainbow land is just really powerful.
Yeah, that absolutely makes a ton of sense. Well, it looks like the players are ready, so let's go ahead and head on down to the battlefield. All right, we have Autumn on the play, which it feels like that's going to be pretty good for any deck that is trying to beat up on a mana denial strategy.
Yeah. These are autumn capped, which seems pretty obvious. You know you're not playing against an unfair deck. Again, the open decklist thing rearing its head. So you just want to keep basically any reasonable 7 that plays Magic, I think. Same for Bonde.
Yeah, both of these hands just kind of feel like land spells what your deck wants to be doing. Autumn wants to find some more action, I think.
Yeah, we do have a Ponder later. I definitely agree with leading on Astrolabe. Gives you more information for your Ponder, and also means you don't have to fetch any non-basics for a while. All
So,
right.
what do you think Autumn's going to be using this ponder to try to find more copies of?
Uh, kind of hard to say by this point. Probably just removal spells. You basically have to kill this Mother of Runes pretty quickly, unless if you had a Plague Engineer lined up.
Sure, sure.
Really, really, the best card for Autumn to draw right there would have been Ren and 6.
Ooh, the old basic swamp Renin 6 stratagem.
I know this is kind of why I think a lot of people think the 4-color control deck is ridiculous that it gets to do this sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we see Autumn fetching up this snow covered island here, really paying a ton of respect to Wasteland.
Yep, Autumn's pretty sharp. I would not expect them to just run into Wasteland willy nilly.
Right, right.
I actually kind of like the patience of not pondering here because you don't know how the game's going to play out. A lot would depend on what 2-drop they play here.
Sure, there's a point where the longer you hold cantrips, the more value they have because you
Exactly.
get a more informed
hmm
decision whenever you're choosing what cards to keep or shuffle away.
So, kind of interesting to note, Michael led with Stoneforge. There's sort of an interesting decision if you should play Thalia or Stoneforge, but I'm going to defer to Michael here. I don't play a lot of Death and Taxes.
Sure, it almost feels like there's maybe a point where if you're expecting the mother to die here, you just want to try and choke on them on mana and force them to actually do something.
Right. So yeah, it could have been respect for a Ren 6, but you can analyze the game and not and basically realized that they didn't have Ren and 6 because they would have just snapped off Ren and 6 on the Mother of Runes, right?
Yeah, probably. I could see that for sure.
Ooh, Oko making an appearance yet again.
Ooh, so it looks like Autumn's just kind of chosen to make a food with this Oko here. Do you think there was any other decision?
Not really. The Astrolabe is too valuable to fix your mana. I don't think you actually want to threaten that. Like, right now, a Source of Plowshares is dead, right?
Sure, sure.
So I think I like the decision to just make a food. It seems low impact, but then you can start turning those foods into 3/3s. So, do you think? Hmm. You have a lot of interesting decisions right here. If you play Jace, it's kind of unsafe, right?
Yeah, it's a weird spot where if you play Jace, you could minus the Jace on the Stoneforge Mystic, and when the Batter Skull comes in, you elk the Batter Skull.
Yeah. So one problem with this play is you lose Jace to a Source of Plowshares essentially because I assume part of the plan would be to make your food an elk token and try to block the germ.
Oh no, you elk the Batter Skull itself.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
So the problem
Except
is
then
you're
you're,
gonna
you
lose your Jace still.
yeah. I think that's too low value, but Autumn's thinking hard about it because that's one option. The other option is to just play Ponder, look for removal. And another option might be to make a food and just plus your Jace, I think might work out. Or sorry,
Hmm.
make an elk. Ooh, this is better. I think this
Love
is actually
it.
better. Yeah, this is smart. I didn't even see this until now, but this makes a lot of sense. Um, so this forces the activation, but you won't get to block.
Yeah, it feels rough because I think you're still losing a Planeswalker in this
No.
exchange.
Well, you're losing Oko. You're not losing Jace,
Right, right.
which as good as Oko is, there's a rap about Jace. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Duh, 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 duh.
Da.
I heard they actually invented Jace in San Diego, I believe it was. Blue White Control is what they played, yo. I know too
uh,
many words to that stupid rap.
yeah, you know a lot more words to that rap than I do, and I think I was playing a lot more Magic back then than you were probably.
I guess I'm just a loser. Dang.
Wow, I didn't mean it like that.
Oh, don't worry. Chat was thinking it. I was thinking it. Someone had to say it.
Uh, well, down goes the Oko, but we'll see if Jace is indeed greater than all. Follow up is a second Stoneforge for Sword of Fire and Ice, which makes a lot of sense because you just look at the battlefield and the primary point of interaction is Jace the Mind Sculptor, right?
Yeah, and I mean, there's even a point where something like Umezawa's Jite is that the other search target here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna double check on that. Assuming it's Umezawa's Jite, that card just doesn't give you a ton of value outside of creature matchups, especially
Yeah,
when your opponent isn't playing very much soft permission.
yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think GTA is like at its worst versus control decks, in my opinion.
Yep, I completely agree. It's one that you'll see people sideboard out a lot because a lot of times the fight you're fighting isn't actually life totals. It's kind of making sure you actually have cards left over while you're trying to pressure
Exactly.
them.
Yep. Snapcaster, pretty good draw. I'm not sure if Autumn shuffled with the Plunder or not. Ooh, that's also very good.
Love a
Um,
good lots of these cards.
Jace's ability can be referred to as lots of these cards indeed. um, so I'm thinking Snap Triumph makes sense because now you can Force of Will. So Ren is currently not good on the battlefield, but what it does is it's nice insurance versus all of the follow-up X1s once you clear these creatures out.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, we kind of talked about how the death and taxes side of things kind of squeezes a little bit and applies 3, squeezes a little bit and applies 3. That's almost how this 4-color snow deck does, but instead with card advantage, where you 1-for-1 a bunch, and then you get a +1, and then you 1-for-1 a bunch, and then you get a +1, and you do this enough times,
yeah.
and eventually your opponent's just down 6 cards and wondering why bad things happen to good people.
Yeah, this is the quintessential Edgar deck. Edgar's not satisfied until his opponent has nothing and he has just a grip of 7. uh, and I mean, like, honestly, this is probably one of the best matchups for the 4-color control deck, if I had to guess.
Yeah, a lot of the cards that you play in these Taxus decks, you are kind of hoping to untap with in order to really do anything with them. Look at Sarah Venture. That card's not really coming to grind, right?
Right, right.
Ooh, now that could be an okay draw. How do you feel about Phyrexian Revoker?
Whoa, did we F6 through forcing?
Or we have a Renin 6.
But there's a
But
giver of runes, yeah.
Oh.
So I'm not sure what happened right there. It was kind of hard to tell, but maybe Autumn thinks
Autumn maybe
they can
just
find
doesn't
another.
value.
If you find another removal spell to clear the giver first, then you can run away the revoker pretty easily. So maybe
Mhm.
that's the thought process. Yeah, I think that's actually the thought process. I mean, obviously the F6 is not off off the table, but
Yeah, it may just be this Force of Will is being saved for something like Sword of Fire and Ice. Or just something
yeah,
more
that's
impactful than
true.
a Revoker. It's not like Autumn's
Oh,
actually in a very bad
speaking
spot.
of removal. All right. Nothing's safe for a while.
All right, and the first one is going to go to Autumn Burchett.
uh
Oh, hold on. We'll go ahead and put that one on suspend for a second.
yeah. We'll put it on suspend 1. But if there were an advantage bar, and if Autumn were the type of person to eat advantage bars, it would be in their mouth being eaten right now.
It's actually the advantage color. If the layout is blue, Autumn's advantaged.
Ah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because Autumn has blue cards in their deck.
Yeah, that
Yeah, well,
too.
we'll go with that. Anyways, it seems pretty obvious that it's going to be push on giver, astrolabe off of something. I think, yeah, I mean, to play 100% correctly, you should actually tap your underground sea, but I don't think it's going to matter that much.
Yeah, I think that Autumn will find a way to win in this incredibly trying time.
I mean, our hand is just 3 unbelievable cards in this matchup.
That's what I'm screaming.
uh,
This is so nice. You'll get to cast the Ren, roll it up.
what color was picked for
Oh, you don't have to use the fatal push because then if they okay, this is cute. So you push the giver, so more than like you're in this gives
Yeah.
Bonde a chance to screw up.
Did Bonde choose red? It looks like it, right?
That is red, yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Again, I think the idea here is that it just doesn't matter very much.
I don't think it's going to matter either, but I was just sort of curious what actually happened right there.
Blowing the fatal push earlier would have put Autumn in a position where they might struggle against something like Sarah Avenger here.
Yep. So
Autumn's just playing as conservatively as possible.
Agreed. It's going to work out for them. I mean, like we have traumatic vision. We have Wasteland for the Wasteland. I love that a 4-color deck, because of Renin 6 and Asteroid, can actually play Wasteland. It's just so ridiculous.
Yeah, so as we were saying, suspend 1. Autumn Lily wins game 1 there.
Yep.
Moving over to the sideboards.
As soon as our man behind the scenes. Yep, there it goes.
We done it.
We done it.
All right, so how do you think things change post board?
So Truth be told, I didn't get a great look at Michael's sideboard this afternoon because I was a little bit busy. But uh, I mean, it depends on how many haymakers he has in his sideboard, I think. And even something like Rest in Peace can be surprisingly effective versus these four-color control decks.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. So what do you think Autumn's going to be doing?
More removal. Force is kind of mediocre, except it does kill Aether Vial. The question is, how effective do you think Aether Vial is versus you, and how many Aether Vials do you think Bonde will leave in? So
Sure.
it's kind of a bit of a leveling game again.
So how do you feel about Cataclysm out of Bonde's board?
Excellent in this matchup. It's like probably one of the hardest cards to beat. And this is why often as blue decks I would just leave in Force of Will versus Taxes, even if it's not particularly good. Just because the threat of Cataclysm or something like Gideon Ally of Zendikar, which you do see, those are just really potent cards.
Sure. It feels like 3 copies of Council's Judgment coming from Michael's side. It's also a pretty hard stance against Planeswalkers.
Yep. I think Michael is just like, yeah, I want to be mono white control, so I need enough coverage versus anything that can happen. So Michael's on the play. Let's see. Well, Autumn has had no lands in their opening 7, which is obviously not what you want to do versus a deck that has. Did Michael mulligan? Michael did mulligan once, it looks like. And bottoming Rashad Oh, I like it because we have the Tomic.
Oh, cute, cute.
Yep. Both mold. Yep. I wonder what Autumn's going to bottom. This is like... So this hand, you have to make a decision if you're going to play around Wasteland or not, I think.
Yeah, this is a weird one where you don't actually have that snow start we saw last game, so you are going to have to likely expose yourself a bit more.
So this time, Bonde leads on the Thalia because he knows he cannot get run next turn.
Yep, this hurts Fatal Push and then also any of Autumn's 2-drops that they wanted to play here.
Yeah. So I think getting Badlands is correct. I think you just have to pretend that you're not getting Wasteland in this game.
Yep, that's just the only way you actually get to play Magic. You can't really afford to play around it, so...
Agreed.
If the only way out's through, then pretend it's not there.
And the truth is revealed. Note, I love leaving the rest. Oh my god!
What?
I think Autumn's gonna be. Autumn's gonna be put
the best part of Autumn's line? They get to know. They get to know that. Oh my god! He peeled it like an onion. Oh my gosh!
I think Autumn's gonna be in the body bag this game pretty quickly, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, this is rough for sure.
We're taking 4 per turn. Well, not this turn, obviously, but it's a pretty fast clock, and we have no blue mana. But we're not dead yet, because Autumn knows the last real card is Rest in Peace. So if you draw a few lands and start removing their threats, you might be okay.
Yeah, this is actually a spot where things are firmly not good. But it's
not over.
Yeah, exactly.
We just need to draw a blue source first.
Ponder.
Yep. How about Inquisition of Kozilek?
That's almost okay.
Oh no!
Oh. All right, and this is exactly what Death and Taxes does. This is how it wins.
Yeah.
Right? Who cares how powerful Autumn's cards are if you can't cast them?
We call this virtual card advantage in the business.
Well, it is Magic Online, so it is virtual.
All right. I think Autumn's like, yep, we're done here now.
That's it. So we see Michael Bonde getting game 2. So that's going to send to a game 3. This is our final round going all the way down to the wire.
Yeah. I wonder. Autumn looks like Autumn's reconsidering the Snapcasters coming in. Wonder what they are considering taking out. Maybe Force of Will. So one reason I think that might be the case is I think their discard gets a little bit better on the play, and you might
Sure.
not need Force of Will as much. But I think they're deciding how much they want to hedge versus Rest in Peace as well. You did see Drown in the Lock exit the deck. I think that card's pretty poor in the matchup because A, it's graveyard reliant, and B, it's just an expensive removal spell.
Yeah, there's a point where we saw Abrupt Decay there. Autumn literally never got a chance to cast it, so
Right.
a conditional Abrupt Decay is way worse.
I do think generally that card does have legs in Legacy in general because it's a split card terminate counterspell, which is kind of nice to
Yeah,
have access to.
sure. This just isn't the matchup for it.
Yeah, agreed. All right. Looks like we're not going to have mana problems this game.
Well, here's the problem. Autumn has lands, and Michael wants to destroy them.
Yeah, but we also have Ren and Six and Ponder and Brainstorm.
So, speaking of Michael having things, there's that Cataclysm. So, even though this is a land light hand,
Yeah.
it looks like Michael has a plan.
Yeah, the plan is to cast Cataclysm, which I believe kills all of the Planeswalkers on the board as well. So it's kind of
Ooh. Is that you politely saying you know that it does that, or you aren't? Let me check.
it's up to you to decide. I said some pretty dumb things last week, so you get to spot check me.
All right. Each player chooses from among the permanents they control an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, and a land, and then sacrifices the rest. So yeah, that'll mop up planeswalkers as well.
Yep. But the upside for Autumn is I don't think without a real amount of pressure, the Cataclysm is not that great.
Well, here, so you'll get to choose artifact with Phyrexian Revoker, creature with Giver of Runes. You see where this is going?
Yeah, I do. My friend used to play Ancient Den in their deck, so they could keep that as an artifact instead.
Ooh, that's a hot one.
Ooh. Force of Will is actually a pretty good pickup here.
Yeah, it answers that Cataclysm.
But also we're gonna get cards back for our brainstorm, so we're gonna be fine on card count. We just need insurance versus powerful spells.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Oh, but Bonde has 2 powerful spells.
Ooh, Gideon's a big one.
Yep. Obviously Autumn's not forcing this because we can just triumph it.
Sure.
So it's gonna work out well for them. Astrolabe a little bit out of position here, but you can just fetch for a snowland. Obviously, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, it'll probably just happen at a different point.
I think it'll actually happen this turn just to maximize mana usage.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, the the problem with sitting on cards like Astrolabe in this matchup is Thalia punishes them really, really hard.
Sure, that's perfectly reasonable. I guess here you get a fetch land back
Yep,
anyway. So yeah,
exactly.
that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, Autumn might choose to cast this Inquisition because Bonde hasn't had 3 mana yet. The problem for them if they do that, Bonnie's hand has literally no 3 drops.
Yeah, that's just bad value.
I know. All right, we went for Liliana's Triumph, which makes sense because you get the fetch back, which gives you another card for Brainstorm.
Yeah, you just get to prioritize the value of your planeswalker here. Every time you get to activate, it's just drawing a card.
Oh, the Thalia not so good to draw here.
Ooh,
I
but
do
this
not.
means that all in Autumn's Inquisition isn't gonna whiff. That's so good for them.
I think drawing Thalia is basically a whiff right there.
Oh, it is a whiff for Bonde, for sure.
Ooh, Thoughtseize now. That's a real card here.
That is what we in the biz refer to as a hot one.
Yep. All right, so we're probably gonna lead with Thoughtseize. Yeah, that makes sense. And Autumn's like, wow, that's a lot of 4 mana haymakers. Fortunately, you can take one of them and force the other, most likely. So that's what I think. Autumn's just debating the merits of which one is scarier for them to have two of. I guess I don't know. It's kind of close either way.
Hmm.
It
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
not sure
not
what's going to
totally
happen.
sure.
Yeah, it you could make a case for either, and I think that's why Autumn's tanking pretty hard on this.
Yeah, at this point, I might end up leaning towards Gideon. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's reasonable to do either. So
sure. It's just when you feel your opponent's getting to loop lands with Ren and 6, how effective is your Cataclysm actually going to be, you know?
yeah, because you're going to have like 3 lands left in your hand post Cataclysm.
Exactly. Like, who
Uh,
cares, you know?
one thing to note is Bonde will have 2 lands post Cataclysm because of the inclusion of Flaxlands of Short Care in their
Oh,
deck.
sure.
Yeah, that's a ancient deck build trick. You
Ancient?
basically
How old do you think Flagstones is like 15 years old. Oh my god.
it's only 14 years old, I think. Only.
I
uh
don't like that.
yeah, it makes us feel kind of old, right?
Oh, I just like my hair just grayed in some spots thinking about that.
Yeah. So the real interesting decision here is, are you allowed to cast that brainstorm?
Well, nah.
The answer is probably not. So I think Autumn's plan this game is to ultimate Ryan and 6 and just cast brainstorm every turn of the game.
You think they're gonna cast Brainstorm a million times?
Yeah. Probably Ponder actually. So
All
you're
right, jam.
I mean, Bonner's hand doesn't do anything else, so he's supposed to jam, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Eh. Oh, who's the Wastelander now?
Stop. He's already dead.
But he's not. We have to slow kill him.
Oh, yeah.
You honestly, seriously speaking, you probably go after the Rashadan port
All
because
right.
you tap a land every turn.
So be honest. Do you put the Rin in 6 to 8?
Bonde has like 3 council's judgments.
Well, when you put it that way, yes. But
I probably would not be greedy and just ult, because if you ponder a bunch of times, you're very likely to find another 6, right?
all right, never mind. Snap it off. 4th land.
Yeah, with the 4th land, I don't think it's actually close.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Autumn being disciplined. I mean, also, it's not really that disciplined because casting Ponder every turn is so much fun. Like, right?
Oh yeah. Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Are
Oh
you ready to
yeah.
draw another Rin in 6?
I'm ready for anything. So they see Astrolabe, Plague Engineer, Snapcaster. Stop, Autumn! Michael's already dead.
Oh my god. Yeah, this is one where Autumn goes, okay, so these I have won the game. How do I not lose the game?
Exactly. That's the most important thing to figure out.
What is Michael's 1% to win? And
The
how do I make that not happen?
the the actual way to lose, I think, is Rest in Peace coming off the top.
Ooh, that could be brutal, right?
Yeah, so
Sure.
Rest in Peace actually lets you beat the emblem. So I think the answer is to just try to kill them before that happens.
Sure,
Or
sure.
try to find a non-graveyard way to beat them, which would be Jace.
Oh, if you draw the Snapcaster, you can retrace Force of Will, paying its alternate mana cost, discarding Snapcaster
Oh,
and a land.
that is sweet. That is sweet.
Because there's the rule with
Yeah.
days where you
Yep,
don't actually
yep.
need a. Yeah, I imagine that
Yeah.
works with Force.
I think Autumn correctly identifies that. I missed it for a second, but Autumn did not miss anything. It is October, right? Would you say it's autumn season to shine?
Oh my god.
You knew what you were signing up for when you were
Oh,
working with me.
Look, it's the best, but you're the worst.
Am I the best or the worst? You have to make up your mind if I'm the best or the worst.
You can't tell me what to do. You're not my mom.
That's true, I'm not. Uh, Wave, Mage, Island. Probably just take another blue card here.
Yes, this is just Arkham's Astrolabe, Snapcaster Island. This definitely feels like the situation where.
Whoa, they shuffled.
Okay, sure.
That's also reasonable. I mean,
They just
how
want
many
to end
times-
the game.
Yeah, I think they're just looking for like a faster win con than casting Ponder a million times.
Ooh.
However, all right. Well, that's probably going to finish it in
Is
some
what-
way.
Autumn could ultimate this Renin 6.
I hate to tell you, those emblems don't stack very well.
Oh, they stack beautifully, one on top of the other.
Meanwhile, Bonnie's like kind of miserable here. Land
Yeah.
after land after land. But as Sukanek is fond of saying, that's the power of blue. Like, you don't get into these situations where you flood heavily because you have cantrips in the late game to mitigate that.
Sure, that all makes sense to me. Well, it looks like Bonde's had enough. Figured the 10th land wasn't going to be much better than the 9th, and goes ahead and packs in the cards to Renin 6 emblem cards in hand. That means that Autumn is going to keep playing.
Yeah, straight into the semifinals of the winners bracket. Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Absolutely. So, next week we have a bunch of great matches. We have the showrunner Julian versus Pleasant Kenobi, Bryant Cook versus Phil Gallagher, Bob Huang versus Caleb Durward, and Edgar Magalhaes versus Cyrus Corman-Gill. All of those are going to be absolutely absurd, and I'm not going to want to miss them. How about you?
Well, so one awkward thing is you have to submit deck lists for MC Richmond on that day, so I probably will not be in attendance on that day.
Jarvis, you just, it's
I know,
just say you're going to be there, dude.
But it's going to be really good Magic, and I'll probably watch it ASAP after.
So I'll see you there, Jarvis. That being
I'll
said,
be there in spirit.
Here from the Legacy Premier League, we do appreciate the sponsors, Wizards of the Coast, Card Hoarder, and Scott Monroe for choosing to make this broadcast possible. Make sure and show them some love next time you get the chance to. Appreciate, most of all, everybody who tuned in to watch some awesome games of Legacy. Without you, the viewers, this kind of thing wouldn't be possible. This has been going on for years now, and it's because all of y'all turn out for it and make us feel the love. So, with that, I'm Emma Handy. That's Jarvis to you. We appreciate you. See you next week.
See you next week.